It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview USA's Olympian freestyle skier, Jaelin Kauf. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into the sport of freestyle skiing?
So both my parents were professional mogul skiers. So it was definitely, skiing was something we always did as a family. And growing up, I kind of did all different ski disciplines from alpine to free ride and freestyle. And eventually later in high school, I kind of decided that mogul skiing, freestyle skiing was for me just because it combined all the different aspects from all those other sports that I tried into one short run. And I love that about it.
Of course, how has obviously your parents who were on the pro level helped you into where you are now as a professional?
Yeah, I mean, my parents have been a huge influence in my life, them both being professional freestyle skiers. For me growing up, that always showed me that that was a career choice for me and something that I could also do. I could make a living or make my career skiing. And so they've been a big influence in that way and just kind of, teaching me to chase those dreams and those passions and have so much fun with it.
What was it like obviously following your parents' footsteps and getting into being a professional skier?
It's been a really special thing to share with them. They both know what it's like to compete at the level that I do, to be a professional skier. And so it's something that they've always really understood that side of my life and what I do there. So it's been a special thing to share with them.
What is it like obviously going to the first world championship in 2017?
So in 2017, those are my first world championships that I went to, and it was pretty cool. I really didn't know what world championships were at that point. I kind of just only heard about them that year, but it was a really cool experience to be named to that team and be able to go and have that experience there.
Of course, in 2017, what was it like traveling to Spain and competing?
It was really cool to travel to Spain. I never been there to compete before. I mean, that's still my only time that I've been there to compete. And definitely a different part of the world than I ever thought I'd be traveling for competition. But it was really cool. It was really gorgeous there. They had a really nice course and it was all around a great experience.
How was it like obviously going in 2019 to the duels world championship?
Yeah, the world championships in 2019 were really special. I mean, they were back here at Deer Valley in Park City, Utah, and that's where we train out of, where we base out of. And in the U.S., it's kind of our home stop, our home course. So to be able to compete under the lights there with a huge crowd, so many family and friends at the bottom, was a really special event for me.
What was that special moment like obviously competing in your training center?
I mean, it's, you have everyone from our training sites here at the bottom of the course, all the US ski team staff, and so many friends and family. And it just, that everyone down there is rooting for you, rooting for the U.S. ski team to do their best and have their top performances.
How was it like obviously qualifying in 2018 for your first Winter Olympics?
Yeah, in 2018, I didn't really know what I expected. I had my sights set on going to those Olympics, but I definitely didn't think it was going to be a reality. I just made the team like a year and a half, 2 years before. And so it was all very new to me. And I started off the 2018 season really strong with a couple podiums, a couple of victories, and kind of got my seat solidified for the 2018 Olympics. And, that's what I've been dreaming about since I was a kid, saying like, I want to be an Olympian. I want to go to the Olympics. And that was just that dream coming true.
Of course, what was that feeling like when you saw your name for the first time and you got the email that you were going to the Olympics in 2018?
Yeah, it was, a crazy feeling. And like I said, that dream coming true. And it was definitely a slow, like, it sunk in more and more over time, as everything got a little bit closer, and I got the call from my coach, and then we had our team camp, and then finally got to go to the Olympics. And it was really special.
Of course, in the 2018 Olympian time, did you have any pregame jitters as that being your first time?
Yes, I definitely had some pre-game jitters. And so going into those Olympics too, I was ranked number 1 on World Cup and at those Olympics, based on all of the World Cups leading up to the Olympics. And so there was a lot of pressure on me from outside sources and also myself. But wearing that number 1 bib, you're expected to win, and I expected myself to win and be on the podium. And going into it, I tried to treat it like any other event, like any other World Cup, and don't think about it being the Olympics too much. But there was also that excitement. I remember standing at the top of the course before my first run, talking to our physical therapist who was up there, and I was like, I am about to compete at the Olympics. Like, I'm finally going to be an Olympian, because I don't think for the athletes, it doesn't feel real until you actually compete there.
Of course, what was it like, obviously, knowing that you were first overall in going into that Olympic time?
Then it felt good. I had a lot of confidence. People were expecting me, predicting me to win, and I also had those expectations on myself. I think that's a lot for anyone to handle going into their first Olympics and that whole experience. But I felt confident and was really, stoked and proud to be wearing that number 1 bib.
Of course, what were some of your favorite memories and moments in the 2018 Olympics?
It was pretty fun on the women's side. All of us it was our first experience. And so there were 4 of us girls from the US there. None of us had that Olympic experience before. And so we're all just taking it in as much as we possibly could together, trying to make the most of everything. And then I think the opening ceremonies were, that was a really special moment to share with all of Team USA and feel that energy and excitement and that team camaraderie, before walking out into the stadium. And that was definitely a highlight of the whole experience.
Of course, how was the 2018 Olympics different than obviously the 2020 Olympics being your second time going?
Yeah, it was this last year too, with everything with COVID going on too, made the Olympics a whole different experience. Going into it, we were isolated. I was in close contact with any family, friends, teammates, coaches. And then at the games, there were no family and friends there, which I was fortunate to have at the 2018 Olympics. But I think it was a big game changer going in, having that experience before. I'd had people tell me who'd gone to multiple Olympics that your second time is different. And I didn't really know what that meant until I actually experienced it. And it was definitely a, I don't know, kind of like calming thing. I knew there wasn't all the new excitement of being there. I mean, still was very excited and stoked and all that because it is the Olympics. But I also kind of knew what to expect. And I didn't feel as in awe of everything. I was able to go in and just focus on what I wanted to accomplish and what I needed to do for that event.
How was it like, obviously, finding out in 2020 that you made the Olympic team again and you were going to Belgium?
Yeah, so I found out this last year in the middle of December at our second or our third World Cup of the season, based on our qualification process was from the year before. So all the World Cups the year before leading up to the Olympics. And so one of my teammates actually came into my room and the two of us had just qualified. I had no idea. And she came in and told me, we're going to the Olympics. Like we qualified, it just came out that we qualified and I had a meeting with my coach and it sounded official. It was definitely very unexpected. I didn't have any idea that I was that close to qualifying at that point. But it was, I mean, a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and just so relieved and happy to be able to get another opportunity and chance to compete at the games.
How was that feeling like the first time you got to put on the Team USA jersey?
Yeah, the first time putting on our uniforms was definitely when it set in for me. And I think that's for both Olympics. Like in 2018, when we got our uniform and put it on, that was what made it feel very real. And this time was a little different because we didn't get our uniforms until we were over in China. But still it was the same thing of that excitement of being able to put on the uniform and get all of our Team USA gear and all of that. And it just makes it a little bit more real.
What was it feeling like when you got to put on the Olympic jersey and have the Olympic rings on your chest for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, that feeling is pretty crazy of being able to, put the bib on with the rings on it. And it's really special. That's something that you're gonna, carry with you for the rest of your life. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of.
How was preparing for this Olympics different than preparing for your first Olympics?
Yeah, I think preparing for my first Olympics in 2018, like I said before, like I was just very new to it. I'd only been on World Cup for 2 seasons before that, and I was new to all of that. I'm very new to the Olympics, obviously. And I was just preparing like it was another World Cup. And it wasn't. I mean, you're still competing against most of the same athletes, but it is a different game. And so that's something going into the last Olympics that I knew it was different. And I felt having that experience before, I knew how to better prepare myself for that. And how to just focus on what I needed to do and ski my run.
What was it like, obviously, living out your Olympic dream?
It's been crazy. It's been, a wild ride. But I think, this year, especially like going to my second games and winning a medal there was, that's the dream. That's what I've been working for so long. And especially the last couple of years with COVID and all the sacrifices we've had to make there of not being able to see friends and family and being isolated for so long, it made all of that worth it in the end.
Of course, what was that feeling like when you got that medal around your neck that all your hard work paid off?
That was one of the coolest moments in my life. So we had our event happened on, I think, the 6th, and the medal ceremony was on the 7th. So I had to wait a whole day to actually physically get my medal, which was I had a lot of anticipation and excitement there. Actually picking up the medal and putting it around my neck was just everything sunk in, the weight of it all, and that weight lifted off me. Having worked so hard for that and finally achieved it was one of the coolest things that I've been able to experience.
What was it like, obviously, during the Olympics, going down the slopes as freestyle skiing, and obviously skiing at the biggest stage of them all?
Yeah, it was, very different experiences in 2018 and 2022 with that. In 2018, like I said, that was very new, and you realize that you're competing in front of the whole world, all of these TV cameras and all of that. Everyone in the world could be watching on the other side of that lens. And I felt a lot of pressure by that. I felt like if I didn't meet these expectations that I'd set for myself or other people maybe had, that I would disappoint people. And after that Olympics, I realized that, there are so many people back home, friends, family, whoever, that were just so happy and stoked to be able to watch me compete there and live out that dream. And so this Olympics, I remember standing up in the start gate, seeing the camera there and knowing that all of my friends and family and so many people were back home watching, and just they didn't care what place I ended up with, but were just so excited to watch me push myself and try as hard as I could and leave it all out there. Yeah.
Of course, for my listeners that don't know, what is freestyle skating?
Yeah, so freestyle skiing, so my discipline is moguls. And so what that is there's 3 sections of moguls, which are mounds of snow, basically. And then they're separated by 2 jumps. And so the scoring is speed, technical skiing, and the jumps. And so it's a combined score of those, and you have 30 seconds basically or around that, to make it down this course, ski a section moguls, do a flip or something off the top air, land, ski another section moguls, followed by another trick, landing back in moguls and finishing.
Of course, how has it been obviously living out your family legacy of competing in freestyle skating at the Olympics?
Yeah, it's been really special. It's kind of cool and unique that we have this family legacy, and it's really fun to be able to share that with my parents and those experiences. Yeah, it's really cool that it's a family thing.
Of course, how does it feel to have Olympian behind your last name and also Olympian medal behind your last name?
Yeah, being an Olympian is really cool. It's something that you get to, you have that medal or not, whatever result you got or did, you get to have that for the rest of your life. And that's a really special thing. And I think, being an Olympic medalist as well, my mom keeps telling me it's life-changing. But yeah, it's even a smaller group of athletes then those that are Olympians are able to accomplish that, being an Olympic medalist. So it's pretty special.
What are some of your favorite memories and moments in both Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of my favorites from both are just sharing those experiences with my teammates. Like I said, the first Olympics, all of us on the girls team, it was our first Olympics, which was really fun. And this time I was the only returning Olympian on the team. So the 3 other girls there, it was their first experience. And it was really fun for me to watch them take that all in. And of course I was a part of that, like, excitement and running around collecting pins or whatever it is that we did. But getting to watch them experience all of that and take it in for the first time was really special for me.
Of course, who are some of your idols and people that you look up to in the sport of freestyle skiing?
Yeah, one big idol and person that I look up to in the sport is Shannon Barkey, who's an Olympic medalist and multi-time Olympian as well. And going into this Olympics, she was a huge inspiration for me and role model. And I was able to talk to her a lot and get a lot of advice for going into my second Olympics, which was extremely helpful for me, and just really great to have someone like that, such a great role model, like, be there for me as well.
Of course, were there anybody in the Olympic Village that you were like, oh my God, I'm standing next to you?
I don't think there really was. I mean, I think everyone is kind of that way. Like, all of the athletes everyone at the Olympic Village is the very best at what they do. They're the best athletes in the world, at least the best winter sports athletes in the world. And it is really fun for me kind of looking around and trying to figure out what people do, like what sport they do. And I think everyone there is just so in awe of each other. I mean, for me, there are no like athletes specifically of like being starstruck by, but just, yeah, watching everyone like push themselves and compete at the highest level and their highest abilities is, yeah, pretty cool to witness.
What are some of your future plans in the sport of freestyle skiing?
As of now, I plan to keep skiing. We have world championships again this upcoming season. So in 2023, location I think is still undetermined. But so looking forward to that this year, as well as skiing on the World Cup tour. You know, I really want to be the best in the sport, and I want to win an overall globe, which means walking away being number 1 at the end of the tour. And so, you know, keep going for that, and maybe I'll be back at the next games in 2026.
Of course, what are some of your future plans and what are some of the things that you're preparing now for the next Winter Games?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think following these Olympics, we kind of work in cycles of 4 years. So it's we have events every year, right, and world championships, but we kind of base our training and preparation off those Olympics. So right now, wrapping up the season with the Olympics, it's kind of time to, you know, reset, look at our air packages and where we need to adjust to improve our scores. And for me, I think that means focusing on my airs right now, and kind of trying to bring my air package up to another level.
What advice would you have future people that are looking to get into the sport of freestyle skiing?
I mean, freestyle skiing is awesome. It's so much fun. And I think that, like, that's my advice for anyone, is to have fun with it. That's, like, I got into skiing because I love it. I love being in the mountains. I love competing. And that's what drives me in the sport still. And it's pretty easy to get caught up in all of the results and medals and so many other things. But as long as you're having fun with it, it's worth doing it. So
What advice would you give people that are looking to go to the Olympics for the first time or even the second time, just like you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the Olympics for the first time, my advice would be to make same thing of have fun with it, take in every part of that experience, because maybe you get the opportunity to go back again, and maybe you're looking to go to your second Olympics, and but these opportunities aren't guaranteed, and so it's really important to make the most of them and take advantage of them, of every opportunity that presents itself.
What advice would you give people that are looking to continue their family legacy, whether it's they are Olympians in their family or even freestyle skiing?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's really fun to be able to share something with your family like that. And if that's what you love to do, keep doing it and know that those people, your family, are gonna be behind you and support you and understand what it is that you're doing.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Kauf, just JAE. And I have an athlete Facebook page, and that's about it.
Thank you again, Jaelin Kauf, for your interview, and best of luck in your future in the freestyle skiing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Jaelin Kauf, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.